All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome to the MMA Advocates presented by CrossBonesMMA and RepTheAdvocates.com. My name is Eddie Law. Out of ABQ, we got our boy Dave Rodriguez, of course, out of LA, straight out of LA. Not sure exactly what part right now, but Jesse Rubalcaba. Fellas, we just had, actually a pretty solid card, right? The card is actually pretty damn good for free. A lot of people were saying it could have been, a pay-per-view card. I wouldn't go that far, but it was still a sick fucking night of fights. UFC Kansas City, of course, headlined by Demetrius Johnson defending his belt against Wilson Heiss. Co-main event, basically a number one contender fight between Rose Namajunas and Michelle Watterson, and of course Robert Whittaker against Jacare. Let's talk about the main event first because we need to get this out of the way. We'll go with Dave here first. Is Demetrius Johnson number one pound for pound fighter, at least right now, possibly the greatest ever, after armbarring or winning by armbar against a Brazilian jiu-jitsu just killer in Wilson Heiss?
Yeah, man, absolutely. DMJ has been putting in work for quite some time now. As we all know, he tied the record of Silva title defenses, so he's got that under his belt. I mean, the guy just seems to be, he's always ever improving. I mean, like he said in the post-fight, he's like, I'm a white belt and BJJ and the blacks, and really he finished in that battle. I don't thought he was capable of that, but he just continues to shine in the big moments. I think because Henry Cejudo, gold medal wrestler, he tooled him. He's just tooling guys at their own game and just totally obliterating cats in there. But next up, I mean, there's always going to be somebody next up in that division. There's always somebody that like we're talking about, the Magomed Bibulatov. We got even like Ray Borg here from Albuquerque. He might be potentially the next opponent for DJ, getting a lot of respect that he's really deserving of. So happy for the guy. He delivered, man. That card was a great card to watch. It actually was a whole lot better than I think 210 in a lot of people's eyes. But DMJ, man, number one pound for pound, and he's gonna make history, and he's already one of the greatest, in my opinion, right now to ever do it, whatever weight class it is. So yeah, he's a definite number one pound for pound for sure.
All right, Jesse, do you agree with that? Number one pound for pound and DMJ?
Of course. Didn't I believe I wrote an article about that, what was it, last year probably, I think it was, arguing the point when people still weren't giving him the respect. They still don't give him the respect because, think about it, probably one of the greatest athletes that we're going to see in the UFC at this point, doing an epic run of title defenses, basically doing what GSP was doing, but finishing the fights. I mean, the control he has over his opponents is just amazing. If GSP had finished the fights, I think he would still be number one pound for pound. But since he had so many decisions, I think that's what pushes DJ, to the top. But still, no respect because he's not getting the views. What was that? 1.2 million viewers on Fox, Big Fox. So it's one of those things where it's like, how is that the greatest guy out there is not getting the views? Where the hardcores, where's the push behind this guy to really blow him up? And of course, I mean, a lot of people were arguing, they had NHL playoffs and some other playoffs at the same time. So maybe that hurt DJ's numbers, but still, lowest ratings on Fox, a free show that was a banger of a card. Just doesn't make sense to me. Really doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it always weirds me out that he doesn't get the respect, like I said, that he deserves because he's not a bigger guy. To my opinion, it's because he's not a big guy, right? I mean, if he went up and fought 135 and beat TJ Dillashaw or Cody Garbrandt, whoever the champion is, in the next, couple months here, I still think he wouldn't get that respect, man. I still think people would be, oh, he's too little. He's a little guy. I mean, I think to me, it's all about size and the fact that people are so superficial that they want to see the heavyweight. They want to see the light heavyweight, the middleweight, the welterweight, whatever. In special cases, the Conor McGregor's, right? Conor McGregor made that 145, that 145 division fire when he was in it, and then he went to 155, won the belt. People want to call him the GOAT. It doesn't make sense to me, but it's a respect factor. I think it's just a lack of respect for Demetrius Johnson. And I mean, I'm wondering the same thing you are. It's like, where are the hardcores that know the fight, know the game, and know how long that guy's worked and how hard that guy's worked to get to this point to be the best? And he just doesn't get the respect. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, the other thing that pisses me off too is that there are journalists, quote unquote, that are out there still arguing the fact that he is not the best in the world. Like, how do you argue that fact? Like, oh, well, there's a certain boyfriend of somebody that's on this show, Eddie, that has a show, the MMA Long Hour or whatever, where he argues, he always argues the fact that John Jones is still the greatest, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he literally has John Jones' dick just shoved straight down his throat, But,
Again.
But he's really quick to pick DJ up and put him on his show and then, suck him off while he's there, But yeah, he always tries to make the argument that somebody else is the greatest pound for pound guy. And there are other journalists, quote unquote, that are now starting to be like, well, I guess we could kind of put him up there. I still think blah, blah, blah. You guys are supposed to be, judging this, as just straight down the middle. And just because a guy is bigger and has all this extra media attention around him doesn't mean anything. I mean, we've seen him be vulnerable. What we see out of Demetrius is that every single time he goes out there, he has a different style, a different game plan, and basically nobody has been able to counter that. I mean, Wilson Hayes, he went out there, really one of the best jiu-jitsu guys at that division, and he got smoked. And he got submitted. Never been submitted in 20-something fights. I mean, does John Jones do that? No. He does occasionally do stuff that you're good at, but he doesn't completely annihilate you and take you out of your game and make you look like a complete rookie. Because that's what DJ does. He makes these guys look like nothing. I mean, the number 2 guy in the division is Joe Benavidez, right? Yep. I think we all agree Benavidez is the guy that's number 2, pretty much consensus pick. And he beat him up in the first fight. In the second fight, put him away easily. Knocked him out easily.
That's why he's fighting Ben to win, you know what I mean? So Joe B is still, top contender like we talked, I think, last week. Joe Benavidez probably would be the top 125 guy, say Demetrius never existed, so he's that good as well. But like you were saying, though, Jesse, I think there's an argument there about the NHL, NBA playoffs affecting the numbers. But coming from the mouth of Dana White post-fight, he said that the entire event, everything, the lead-up, worked out great. I mean, they had a great crowd in there that night. A lot of people root for Tim Elliott. There were some hometown guys on there. So looked like a great turnout. Dana seemed pleased, but Dana tends to be pleased and say that just about every card. But I think he's telling the truth as far as, like, the event and everything, the lead-up, how they had the outdoor event going. So looking good, though, and it actually delivered more, like I said, than 210 in a lot of people's eyes. So, but yeah, the numbers do suck, though, when I did hear about the viewers on Fox. But yeah, definitely affected by playoffs. Absolutely.
But the thing too is, though, they broke records, attendance records, which is, you got to remember, it's much more important to break the attendance records than it is like a pay-per-view record, because pay-per-view, you're splitting the revenue with all the pay-per-view providers and all that stuff. The gate that you're getting, at the, that money that you're getting at the gate, that's where you're making a lot of your bread and butter. Unless unless you're Conor McGregor over here and you're doing over, 2 million buys or whatever, 1 million buys, then that's, those numbers just get really, really good in your favor. But, but again, I think as hardcores, everybody that watches any of these shows, any of these other MMA shows, like, we should be rallying around this guy and really putting him up as, like, just, as what we saw Anderson Silva as, right? Like, everybody wanted to go see Anderson Silva live. Everybody wanted to watch him fight. Everybody still wants to watch him fight. Why? Because he's one of those guys that you're not going to get to see for very long doing it at this high level, And what people argue is like, the bigger guys, there's less margin for error and all that stuff. But then again, you look at these lighter guys, they have a lot more skill. They're a lot faster, and a lot of them do have a lot of pop to put people out. We've seen it before. So, I mean, all those arguments are just, nil. I mean, you got a guy that came into the division, basically ran through that little tournament that they had, is now running through pretty much everybody in the top 10. And now, like, they even made a tough show to try and find a guy to come and challenge him, which did give him a good challenge, but still, he won that fight. I mean, how much more does DJ have to do for us to be like, yeah, that is by far the best guy ever, and that guy needs to get, 7 figures plus, like, 8 belts, or 9 belts, in his house so he can decorate a whole wall. Like, what does he have to do?
Yeah, and I think that's very true, though, Jesse. Great point. And even to cap off Jesse's point, and a lot of great things there is Demetrius not only carries himself as a great champion in the cage, he's a great champion outside of the cage, and sort of similar to like with DC, whatever, totally separate weight classes, different cats. But Demetrius definitely carries himself like a total champion. You got to respect that. And yeah, that's what a lot of people like to say about Johnny Bones. He's the GOAT, but he's a total. He can't be trusted outside of the cage. So much respect to the side of Demetrius, though, man. He's a total killer, been so for a time. And a lot of people just don't realize the greatness that they're witnessing. And usually that's the case when it involves some real high-level cats, especially at MMA, any sport. It falls true in any sport. And we really got to appreciate what we see from Demetrius going forward. And, yeah, let's get this guy on a pay-per-view card. Guy fights on Fox all the time. So let's get a little pay-per-view action going for DMJ next time out, making history.
Yeah, that's what you hope for, right? The respect of getting on a pay-per-view card, getting a co-main spot at the very least, co-main. So, all right, moving on. The co-main event, of course, was the #1 contender fight between Rosa Namajunas and Michelle Waterson. And man, I was torn in this fight, man. I don't want either girl to lose. And but look, beautiful head kick by Rosa Namajunas, and then finish on the ground. Jesse, what did you see from Rose? Now, a lot of people are giving her no chance, all right, in this fight against Joanna. It was more than likely the fight's going to happen. Or the winner of Joanna and Andrade, right? If it's Joanna still the champion, Jesse, what chance do you give Rose?
None. I honestly, and it's not for a lack of respect for Rose. I think Rose has really improved so much. There's just so much improvement that you've seen at a maturity level. But yet, there's still holes in her game. There's still things that she does that you see that a high-level opponent like, Joanna Champion would just eat her alive. Her takedown defense is not the best. Her striking is still not as crisp as it could be. And again, those are just things that you see, but you know that she can shore them up in time. And I think it's better if we give her more time before we throw her in here against a champion that might really break her. And then what are we going to do? Now she's had 2 shots at a championship, granted different title holders, but still now 2 shots at a championship. What does that do for a fighter's psyche, right? Especially if it's Joanna and she does the Joanna thing of rearranging her face, really cutting her up, really hurting her in that fight, And I'm not saying that that's going to break her mentally, any of that stuff, because we know Rose is tough. She's a tough, gritty chick, and she's just going to, stay in the fight. But what does that do to her after the fight? Say she loses that fight and she took all that damage. How long before she gets back on this winning streak that she is right now? She gets improving again. She gets all that confidence again. Because, again, in that fight, that first round, she wasn't very confident, right? I mean, we all agree. Waterson was doing a little tricky things here and there, that side stance, everything. It took her a round to kind of get her footing underneath her, and then she got confident. Then what she started doing, she started mocking Waterson, right? Tapping her knee to get her to kick her leg again, kind of had her hands all over the place. That confidence came with that round. But in that first round, she didn't look the best. She looked a little tentative. She looked a bit like she's trying to read Waterson, and Waterson really took advantage of that. Again, it's one of those things, like what would happen against Joanna Champion or Andrade or any one of those, top contenders in that division. A lot of those would probably end the fight in that first round, take advantage of a lot of those hesitation and really put it on her, So I think we need to slow the roll here. It could be a case of like a Cody Garbrandt where we're all kind of afraid of what's going to happen, gets a title shot, really shines. But I think it's still a little too early for Rose to jump in there. I think she needs maybe 1 or 2 more fights. Really would want her to just evolve her game to that ultra point where we're getting like the ultimate package from her. Grappling that she shows and that striking that she shows, and just be able to merge that so well together that it's just like a dangerous package. And who knows? Maybe we have another Demetrius run. A champion that is able to challenge Demetrius's so far 10 title defenses. Because to be honest, how many of the champions currently do we see even challenging 10 titles? 10 defenses. Really, none of them, right?
None.
So once we get an evolved contender like that has all that potential and gets to that point where they're like the perfect package, I mean, that's what I would want to see, a perfect contender come in, have all the skills already honed, and really, make a good run at this.
Now, Dave, before the fight, I was talking to a lot of people. People were thinking that Watterson was, even against Rose, was undersized to fight at this weight division. Now, she was champion at atom weight champ in Invicta, which honestly to me is the perfect weight division for her. Of course, the UFC does not have that, so she's at strawweight. Now that she's Watterson suffered her first loss in the UFC at 115. What how hard do you think it'll be for her to get back and contend for a title again?
Yeah, it'll be quite the process. I mean, Michelle's definitely in the gym hard, trains hard all the time. I've seen her down there plenty of times. I mean, like you mentioned, her being undersized. You've clearly seen that with Rose, as Rose is really kind of, she's doing her thing. She's doing a lot of improvements to her game. You could definitely see that size advantage big time. And Rose, man, she's adding just different tools to her game. Like Jesse said, I think it's pretty accurate. Where she's got to get her skill set together where it all blends nicely. Because whenever she goes up against the killer and JJ, no chance. I mean, that she just sets the bar so high, and she's such a high level opponent. We'll see how Andrade does against her, and I think it kind of like draws two different scenarios where if Joanna's really just lays waste to Andrade and is fresh, maybe they fast track Rose right into a title shot again. But if not, I'm thinking like the Carolina Kowalkiewicz fight and Claudia Gadelha, that could be a scenario where that winner of that fight gets the shot too, and Rose maybe takes another fight in the process. But yeah, I think in the like everything building up the fight. I mean, as somebody had mentioned to it on Twitter, they made a real good point because we've seen this before with Ronda Rousey, Amanda Nunes. They didn't promote Amanda Nunes at all. She was already the champion. Similar here where they promoted heavy on the side of a Michelle Watterson. They wanted her, in this big time fight, possibly a title fight, which would have been a mistake if she won the fight in any fashion. I think Michelle at least was like 2 or 3 fights away. But now we see that she's farther away now. And ultimately at the end of the day, Rose really would be, it would really kind of hurt her to fast track her in there, but I could see it happening. Joanna could just go in there and steamroll Andrade, and that fight is happening in about 2 weeks' time. So we have a heavily stacked 211 card where keep crossing your fingers now because that shit is super stacked. We don't want a single fight to drop off that card. So looking forward to it, and a lot has to do with those specific bouts. Gadelha down at 212 and then 211. So over a 2-month period, we'll figure out what's happening with Rose.
All right.
Before you go on, Eddie, just a quick question. Is any of you guys kind of like shocked and surprised that Dana White actually admitted that this card was the actual first card that he was excited to promote? Because on the what was it, on the press, the after fight press conference, I think it was, or during an interview, he talked about how he was excited about this card because this is the card that really had a lot of the big players, and this was the one that moving forward now we're going to see the more stacked cards. And to me, it's like kind of surprising that we just had a title fight, right, in the last event, and then we had a contenders fight. It all kind of went to hell, right? But still is a big pay-per-view, right? It was in New York and all that stuff. And yet here's Dana White saying, yeah, I was really excited for this Fox event. Like, like, ouch for all the other fighters on all the other cards prior to this card, right? Because, like, that's just a spit in their face. Like, nobody's talking about this because, it was kind of like one of those throwaway comments. But, I mean, to me, that was really, like, telling that they know how bad they need stars. And they knew that their first stars that they were going to be able to promote really, really heavily was, like Dave said, Michelle Watterson, because they had really been promoting her before. They were looking to hopefully her win and put her, farther up in the division, maybe a title shot. DJ, a guy that's, just looks amazing. Jacare, they had all these names, and this is what they were looking forward to, but not New York with Chris Weidman. And
you know what though, I see what you're saying, like, because I did hear that too. I think he's full of shit. It's one of those things where you're like, oh, dude, this card's gonna suck, bro. The Bud Light fans, this card's gonna suck, bro. Card was sick. I couldn't wait for this card, man. I was so fucking pumped. I was so goddamn pumped, bro. That's exactly what he did. Like, literally exactly. I think he's full of shit. I think he doesn't want to look like a fucking asshole. The fact that he literally, I mean, and you guys saw this, right? You didn't see a commercial for DJ against Wilson Heist that for the entire Fox event until UFC 210. And it was in the middle of the card. Like a fucking, Okay, that was the first. I mean, I don't know about you guys. That was the first that I saw any kind of promotion for this card. So do I believe that for a second? No, fuck no. He doesn't want to look like a complete dickwad. You know what I mean? He doesn't want. He just wants to go. Yeah, I fucking knew it. Yeah, I fucking knew it, bro. I fucking knew it was gonna be great, bro. Yeah, bro. Fucking shut the fuck up, Dan. You full of shit. That's just literally what it was.
See,
you know
and also
I don't buy it.
The promotion side too with Watterson and Rose, like maybe that's the reason why they didn't push Rose, because maybe they're not really trying to fast track her into that title shot. Dana was kind of vocal about doing so post fight, but when does he does that every single fucking event, talks about this and that, you know.
Let's look at it. Let's look at it even more baseline, a little more douchey in that point. I'm gonna go with Dana White. I have to think like a total douchebag, like a straight up fucking Scottsdale, Arizona meathead fuckface, fucking 30K millionaire fuckhead, all right? Because that's what he acts like. He's a legit millionaire. He's credit is due, but that's what he fucking acts like. Okay, like yeah, we're gonna promote her now. We're gonna promote her now. You didn't promote her before she beat the shit out of Paige Van Zandt. It was a cute little blonde girl. I got her ass whipped. You didn't promote Michelle Watterson before fine ass Paige Van Zandt got her ass whipped. Where were you at there, motherfucker? Okay, that's exactly where the fuck were you, Dana? It's horse crap. It's all horse crap that he's feeding people so he doesn't look like a complete jackass. It's what he does. He's all about that shit. And he's good at it.
Yeah, look at Nunes though. She was champion, main event on UFC 200. They didn't do a single lick of promotion for her, but we all know why.
And they're still not. They're still not.
Yeah, still to this day.
When's the last time you seen anything by Nunes? All right, fucking Ronda Rousey wins. Oh, Ronda Rousey's the greatest fucking thing ever. She's on fucking Ellen. She's on fucking whatever. Name a million fucking morning shows and fucking housewife noon shows. Right? Name all those bitches. She was on that shit. Right? But Nunes, nowhere to be seen. She was on some Brazilian shows. Okay, cool, great. And they're missing the boat like a motherfucker. Okay? I mean, I don't know what the hell the UFC is trying to do. They always talk about we want to get this market, we want to get that market. I mean, we've never seen an openly gay champion before. You know what I mean? I can't think of one. All right, and she's won. Her girlfriend fights in the UFC at 115. Like, what more do you want, dude? Promote the shit out of this chick. Get her out there. She's a badass chick that knocks chicks out. Okay, and you're not doing jack shit about it.
But again, the UFC is not good at telling stories, man. That's what I've always said about. That's what I've always said about the UFC. They don't tell stories. They kind of expect the fans and I guess like media to do that. But that's not how it works, man. You gotta build these people up and tell their story. I mean, how much do we actually know about Conor McGregor from the UFC? Nothing really, right? I mean, they give us
mostly himself. I mean, he'll tell you all about himself all day.
But like, how much do we actually know about what he went through to be where he is now? About when he was poor to the point where he was, living off of like basically food stamps, Like, nobody knows the whole story because the UFC will not tell it. They only talk about, oh, he knocked out a bunch of dudes over there, and then we brought him here, and now he's a big star. Like, bullet points. Amanda Nunes, oh, yeah, she was fighting on undercards, and oh, my God, she knocked out, our champion. Hey, she's a champion. We'll just send her to Brazil to do Brazil media. It's like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, you guys want us to follow these guys and be fans of them, but yet you don't tell us why. Why should we connect with these people? Why should we care about these people? Like DJ. I'm a big fan of DJ because he was one of the only guys that had one sponsor, Xbox. But what did he always do? He would go to Xbox conventions. He was a big gamer. Now he's on Twitch and he has all his fans watching him game. He likes to drink. He likes to know his fun because he's humble. Like, when you know a guy's story, you're more involved in that person. But how many people really know these people? It sucks.
Also, I don't know if you guys heard about it, or I think Cub Swanson was pretty vocal about DJ and him deserving respect, and like, based on what he's done is, $10 million worth or so, you know what I'm saying? So, and he kind of reflected on like the old era of the UFC where they were trying to gain sponsors, trying to grow this shit, where they really didn't like the guys with the neck tattoos, they had like a whole other different business model. Nowadays we know it's the fucking WME era. We know when the promotion, we see it, us on this show, we see it, we know what to look for. And it's really just like right in front of your fucking face. And really like, they got to just promote these guys and let them know who they are. I mean, the Ultimate Fighter show is its own separate thing, but Nobody follows that shit anymore. So if you date back like to the old era, I like how Cub brought that up because Cub was a killer then. I level top opponent still in the current in that division now. It's the sign of the times in the UFC, and it's the WME era. We all know that, and we all know what they want. So best interest to promote the shit out of these people, just the right ones, though, not just one-sided. Though that's what they had a problem with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It is what it is with them, but I agree with Jesse. They're not great at telling you, at making you care about these guys. A lot of them have to do it themselves, and you know, like Tyron Woodley like does these videos of Champ Life and Champ Camp and everything. I like those videos. He needs to work a little on that a little bit too. So I think all around that shit needs to get worked on.
Yeah, and you see like the guys that are vocal. Those are the guys that a lot of people don't like because they're a little too vocal. You know, they're a little up their own ass. You know, like DC trying to make himself fans. You know, like dude, you got to get that just naturally, just be yourself. You know, why do you think a lot of people like John Jones?
You know what though? I think the fact that he tried to fake it, then he was like, "I'm just gonna be myself," and now he's back to the bullshit. People were just like, "This guy's full of shit all the time. Fuck him." I think he already ruined it. It's too late for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think he could salvage himself a little bit, but he's just
it'll take a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of thick skin in DC. A lot of people can't handle a little bit of criticism or a little bit of shit.
Or one win over Jones gets him all the respect that whatever I don't know what people feel that he needs or whatever. I know.
And in that case, he'll never get respect. What are you gonna do?
We shall see. We shall see. And I think that would lead us right into our next topic, right, Ed?
Yeah, Robert Whittaker unexpectedly knocking out motherfucking Jacare. Did anyone see this shit coming? Anybody? I didn't. I picked Jacare by easy submission. And yeah, fucked him up. What'd you think, Dave?
Oh man, yeah. I knew Whittaker is a tough bastard. I think he was like one of the guys that we said, keep an eye out 2017, man. But against the Jacare, I mean, I think as soon as like Whittaker showed that he could defend, because what Jacare point right early, and as soon as he was able to get out of there and show that he could get back to his feet, Jacare was in the shitload of trouble because Whittaker has dynamite in his hands. So he played a real cool, confident game in there. He did his homework. A lot of people say that Jacare over the years, his striking is sort of weird. It's he's hittable, and Robert Whittaker, a guy with speed and athleticism that he has, is a guy that's going to tag him up. The only thing you got to worry about is him getting you down, and all right, he's done that to so many guys. So Whittaker, a lot of tape to look on. He knows what kind of older Jacare, of course, but he knew he was going in there confident, man. I mean, very, very confident at that. As he got to face a top guy, and like winner of this fight was no doubt going to get a title shot. We would hope, but it just shined in the moment. Robert Whittaker, man. I mean, Bisping even gave him the respect where Bisping's been saying, "Oh, I'm not fighting this guy, I'm not fighting that guy," but he feels that Robert Whittaker is a deserving guy at this point. And
hey, as long as Robert Whittaker isn't Joel Romero, all day.
I agree that Bisping is like he should give Whittaker that respect, and if he does offer him the fight, let's do it. That's proper, man. That's Whittaker rising the rankings, a young badass. Give him the shot. That kind of is like we were talking about him and GSP setting the division back. Well, him fighting Robert Whittaker would fucking propel the division. I mean, shit, man. Maybe they have a duel, and maybe they run it back once or twice. But hey, there's a few guys right there, Yoel included. I mean, he's kind of a long shot at this point now, but would love to see Whittaker and Bisping get down as soon as June 3rd or July 13th a fight. So this whole GSP thing needs to just he'll fight somebody else at some point. Get him Tyron Woodley, but yeah, man, get Whittaker in that title fight. I think he could take the gold.
Yeah, what do you think, Jesse? What do you think? First of all, did you even? I don't know. How surprised were you that Whittaker knocked him out?
I was screaming my head off, screaming and like yelling, and then I had to pause it, and then I had to like finish what I was drinking, and then like rewind it. I didn't see the finish initially because I just kept rewinding, and I was like, no. Jacare is just playing dumb. He's gonna get out of this real quick. He's gonna sub him right now. And then when I saw the finish, I was like, yeah, wow. That's unbelievable, but this is what we like, right? This is what we enjoy about this sport, that there are times where you have a lockdown pick. You know this guy's just gonna run through this person, and then they get thunderstruck, and you're like, "What the hell just happened?" You know, this guy just cemented himself as a contender. I'm a little hesitant to drink the Kool-Aid, as a lot of people have already on Whittaker. I think he's definitely a really, really skilled guy. But I think the same way that Bisping is thinking. I think Bisping sees him as a less dangerous Yoel Romero. He's got power, but he's still got holes in his game. He does his homework, but I don't think he's as refined as Luke Rockhold or Yoel Romero or even a GSP. I don't think he's got that next level game yet. He's getting there. He's definitely getting there. I mean, we've seen, what he's been able to do against Brunson, a guy that, obviously now looking back, he's not doing so well now, right? But still, this fight definitely was just a good showing for him. Now, on the Jacare side, I don't know, man. I tend to agree with. I heard somebody talking about this, that he looked a little out of shape. Jacare did, and it's kind of curious that he just signed an 8-fight deal and then dropped this fight. And most, I don't know, maybe he was injured or something, or just something, because most fighters know that if they're going into a fight, the last fight on a contract, and they're confident they're going to win, they're going to ride that thing out because they know they're going to have a lot more, negotiation power after that win. Last fight, no more contract. Now you got to come correct to a guy that's a top contender. So it kind of weirds me out that, like, what was it, like the day before the fight or 2 days before the fight, he was dancing on his social media that he got an 8-fight contract deal. So and then he gets murked pretty easily in this fight. From the beginning he just did not look comfortable and confident in there. And Robert Whittaker, of course, being a high-level guy, a really, really good striker with a really, really good game plan, went in there and just capitalized on that. So, I mean, it's kind of conspiracy theory-ish. I'm probably going into the Eddie Bravo realm of conspiracy theories here, but I think that
nobody could do that. Nobody can get to that level. That's fucking like epic expert level.
But yeah, Jesse, you're saying Luke would beat Whittaker, but you'd pick Bisping to lose against Whittaker, right?
No, I would say Bisping would beat Whittaker.
Bisping beat him, but you think Luke would beat Whittaker, though? You agree to that, right?
I think so. I think we all agree that Luke Rockhold walked into that cage just really not expecting what happened to him. It wasn't even crossed his mind that he was going to get punched in that fight, right? Like, in his mind, he was going to walk in there, punch Bisping. Bisping was going to explode into a bunch of confetti. They were going to, lay the belt over his shoulder, and he was going to go home and bang Demi Lovato that night. Didn't go that way because that's not what happened. So, but I think a very, very confident, a very, very focused Luke Rockhold, I mean, that's a dangerous guy. I mean, look what he did to Chris Weidman. Look at a lot of the people that to what he did to Machida. A lot of his fights, he does damage, and he knows how to really. He's a really skillful guy. I think Robert Whittaker, maybe like 1 or 2 more fights, he'll be there. But I think if you push him too far right now, kind of like the Rose thing, I think if you push him too far too fast, you're going to burn him up, and that's a star that we kind of need. I mean, he's like 26, 27.
Yeah, and I ask you that because that's exactly what the scenario will likely play out. Luke Rockhold, I think it was like Ariel Helwani tweeted it out or some. Luke confirmed it. He wants Whittaker. So basically, if Bisping and GSP are going to do their dance, we're going to likely see that Whittaker-Rockhold fight.
Look, man, as long as we stop doing these GSP Bisping bullshit fights, I don't give a fuck. I'm sick of just divisions getting held up. It really is getting stupid. But anyway, all right. Anything else on this card you guys want to talk about? Before we move on.
Roy Nelson is really 40 years old. Really.
Any look like it. He definitely look like it. Anything else?
Jeremy Stevens needs to retire.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Jeremy Stevens needs to retire.
Yeah, Jesus. I mean, I don't even know what to say about that guy. All right, who the fuck is he? I guess I don't know. I know who he is. I'm just saying. That's the only thing. By the way, I didn't get to hear the crowd. I was actually at a bar when that fight started. So I didn't get to hear it. Did the crowd at all start doing "Who the fuck is that" or anything like that? Because I was expecting that chant.
No, they loved him there though. That's why.
Oh really?
That's
Oh okay. Never mind. I was kind of hoping that we were gonna start chanting "Who the fuck is that? Who the fuck?" It would have been awesome. Embarrassing for him, but it's hilarious to me. All right, moving on here. Cyborg versus GDR in Anaheim, UFC 214. Is it possible? Well, Cyborg saying that she's basically saying it's a done deal. She's also basically saying that John Joe's gonna be on the card. Jesse, do you buy that shit?
Was that a slip up by her? Do you guys think?
If it's true, it's a massive slip up, and Dana White's probably pissed.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what? I think it's possible, but I think a lot of people don't understand that in her contract she has a clause, I guess, that the contract expires in October or November of this year. So if she doesn't get the required fight, basically that's it. Her contract is and she's a free agent. So I'm pretty sure they're going to push to make this fight and or make a different fight just to keep her busy, just to give her the fight that she needs. It's really up to Jermaine Duranamy to really stick up to the plate here, right? I think the only other thing that they could do probably is pick Megan Anderson from Invicta and put her against Cyborg here in Anaheim, and it would be dope-tacular for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you think there, Dave? You think it's for real?
I think it's for real. I think all these like crazy not freak show fights, but like these big time matchups, the Rousey return, the Jones DC, all these fucking fights, they have to happen because I think I mentioned it to you, Eddie, or somebody had brought it up to me about WME pulling out another loan and like shit's getting, real on the money side, and they have to fucking have a huge second half of the year. And I think all these crazy fights got to happen. The GSP Bisping fight, as much as we hate that fight, as much as it'll fuck things up even worse, that's going to happen too as well. So, yeah, man, I think they got to get Cyborg in there. I mean, above all that shit, they got to have that title. That was the division was open for her, and then who has she fought? This would be her toughest test. GDR proved that she's game. She fought a game, Holly Holm, controversial at the end, but they started that division for a reason. And as of right now, there's no two others than GDR and Cyborg, and that's one hell of a fucking fight. So all that included, yeah, absolutely. We'll see them all. We're going to see every last one of those fights this year.
All right. Well,
real quick, though, like the whole loan that they put out, a lot of reporters are kind of dumb when they report that stuff. You got to understand that's IMG or whatever, WME, IMG taking out the loan. That is not anything. That is literally has nothing to do with the loan that they took out to buy the UFC. Yep. That is an actual separate business deal. Of course, a lot of the quote unquote journalists, MMA journalists, are so dumb and don't know how to investigate things that they just put two and two together, and now they're saying that the UFC is in trouble. But that loan has nothing to do with that. That is actually a separate deal that WME, IMG, or whatever is going to deal with separately. They already have enough money. Remember, they spread out a couple of shares from the company, from the UFC company, to a lot of people, a lot of celebrities that paid in a lot of money, over 15 people, right? So, I mean, they have enough capital to keep this going for a while. That ain't a problem. This is just a separate business deal that they did. So all those MMA
look, clickbait, right? clickbait gonna clickbait, bro. That's what it is. Clickbait gonna clickbait. That's what I call it. That's what it is. Fucking, how many fucking people like writers and journalists I talk to every once in a while on Twitter, where I'm sitting here going, just waiting for them to put out some shit. Fucking MMA fighting does it constantly. I mean, constantly, because we know about BJPen.com and all those fuckers. But that's what it is.
So if that's the case, we're basically, like I said, clear half into the year. So just watch, though, the second half of the year, all those fights got to happen one way or another for a reason. So we'll see.
Oh, yeah, they still got to pay. I mean, what, $2 billion, $3 billion that they took out to buy the UFC? That's still a massive loan. I mean, that's nothing
I'll tell you what, everyone at WME IMG start selling those kidneys and fucking extra body parts that you don't need. Y'all got to pay up, bitches. That's what it is.
Yeah. The fucking, what's his name? Who owns the UFC? Nicki Minaj and The Weeknd. They need their goddamn money back, right? So that's where we're at.
Nicki just has her ass implants. She's good to go. All right. Moving on here because we're starting to run out of time here. Just because we got to get it out of the way. Tim Kennedy re-enlisted as a Green Beret, and just very quickly, what would Andy say to that?
Fuck Tim Kennedy.
There you go. All right, and this is not it's not nothing against the Green Berets, the fact that he re-enlisted, but fuck Tim Kennedy. Anyway, all right.
Yep.
Motherfucker, go find Hitler. You say you're gonna find him, you fuck. Anyway, moving on. Bellator 178, Pitbull Fier against Daniel Strauss for the 145 title fight. That's just to inform you guys that it's happening. Very quickly, because we're running out of time. Is Bellator fucking like they have that pay-per-view coming up, right? It's gonna cost $50 to watch or some shit like that. And all these other shows, like Ferris Strauss is gonna be a good fight. But there's been like 2 or 3 cards that just passed Bellator cards, okay, that they have not promoted whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like 175 and I think 176, I don't even know what's happening. You know what I'm saying? Like for real. And they want to catch up with the UFC, fuck that shit.
It didn't help that Rampage was 290 pounds in that other card too as well. So
and that wasn't even a bad fight. Overall, that was okay.
Yeah.
For real.
Wait. You've seen Bellator?
Huh?
I haven't been watching Bellator.
I can't watch Bellator because these fuckers are live and they're not actually live. So Bellator can eat a dick till they get that shit figured out.
You know what? The saddest thing about this event is that it's, like you said, it's a damn good fight. But if anybody has been watching Bellator over the last few years, you've already seen it 3 times. Now you're getting it a 4th time. Great. Good job, Bellator. You're screwing yourself.
Exactly. All right. And then, actually, let's just get into fight bookings now because I got to run. So, Dave, fight bookings, what do you got?
Dylan Dennis versus... No, I'm just kidding.
Motherfucker. If it's not anyone named CM Punk or Fred Kirby or some kind of killer, I don't want to hear it.
Oh, yeah. The Kirby, that fight is still on the table. We're still waiting to hear
Kirby
back
CM Punk, come on.
CM, where are you at, motherfucker?
Yeah.
UFC 213 added Curtis Blades, Daniel Omielanchik, and then they added 2 fights to the tough finale. I think it's Elias Theodoro, Brad Tavares, and also
that's a weird fight. It isn't that I feel like Brad Tavares might be a little too big for Elias, but that's just off of instinct, I think. Sorry, go ahead.
I think they're both close in ranking, so it's kind of gauging where one guy is going to go in that division. It's a pretty stacked division, as we know. Also, Gray motherfucking Maynard is still in the UFC, and he's booked
to
fight Ishihara.
Okay. All right. I mean, cool. As long as he's not like trying to contend for a title, some crazy.
Yeah. So there's a couple bookings. Nothing really too big. We don't have no Dylan Dennis announcements, but yeah, there's a few there. And plenty of action though. Combates tomorrow. Also
Thursday.
Bellator. Yeah, so we got plenty of action going on.
See,
and also
I didn't even know Bellator was happening. Well, you have Bellator. The fuck.
And then of course
this
weekend, the Lionheart right here from Albuquerque, New Mexico, stepping in there against Ray Janelle.
Wait.
Yeah, he did it again.
He can no longer call himself Lionheart. He can't call himself Warrior. He's over here talking about how weed almost killed him.
Yeah,
I'm done.
That's right.
Because he needs to call himself the heart attack. That. He panicked. That means he fucking panicked when he was high. That's the fucked up part. Which is funny because tomorrow's 420. Someone in the UFC card this week is going to test positive. I guarantee it.
No shit, huh?
Is anybody from Diaz camp fighting? Anybody they know? Anybody they hang out with?
Nope, they're smarter than that. They steer clear of this shit.
Yeah, no, there's nobody.
They were smart. They're like, fuck that.
The one thing I did want to mention is Robert Whittaker, change your nickname to Bobby Knuckles.
Please. That would be fucking solid.
Drop the Reaper. That ain't working. Nobody cares. Bobby Knuckles, best name ever.
Fuck yeah. In fact, everyone in journal or everyone writing MMA and doing podcasts like us, don't call him anything. Don't even call him Robert Whittaker. Call him only Bobby Knuckles till that shit sticks so bad he has no choice but to change it. Anyway, anything else?
No, I said before we go, I guess we could, because we aren't going to do a pre-show for this card this weekend. I guess we could do some pick'ems for the co and main event. As I said, the co-main, Raging Ally Quinta making his comeback fight from fucking selling real estate in New Jersey and New York, fighting like I said, the Lionheart himself, Diego Sanchez, in the co-main event. Who do you guys got?
That's the most like well-matched fight ever because you got a guy that's just like coming off a long layoff. And a guy that's probably deserves a long layoff. That's just a crazy fight. Go ahead, Eddie. I know you were going to make your pick first.
That being said, Diego Sanchez is going to win this shit. I don't give out any chance, honestly. They're going to be tearing hotel rooms up. You're going to be gone for a long-ass time. Oh, no, I'm never going to come back, man. I'm just going to go sell houses and shit, man. I'm in New York. Yeah, I'm going to go fight. Fuck Diego. Yeah, right, dude. Diego's just going to bite on the mouthpiece and just fucking hit him with a massive hook and just knock him out calling it. Hey, hold up. And honestly, I want to see him scream out, I'm the Lionheart, like after this fight, because I guarantee that's what he's going to do. Fucking guaranteed.
You know what? I agree with you, Eddie. I think for a fighter, you can't walk away from your sport when you're, that young, that hot. You can't just go, well, they're not paying me, so I'm just going to go away.
Exactly.
That just shows me that this isn't for you. This isn't for you. And he fit very well into real estate, so quickly. So I think he's going to go straight back to selling, bungalows to rich, pompous kids over there in New York. And he's going to get knocked out. I agree. I think he's probably going to get knocked out.
Who you picking, Dave?
Well, I think you guys know who I'm picking, but Ally Quinta, I think he's selling real estate with Aljamain Sterling. I think he's got Sterling on as well, too. So they have a bit of a backup plan since they're not well paid in their current contracts with the UFC. I know Ally Quinta, that was the reason why he was out, because he had fucked up knees.
Yeah.
A lot of controversial shit with I think it was Lorenzo and Joe Silva, right? So besides that, though, man, he's coming off a layoff, fighting an ultimate fucking killer, one of the last dawns of the original, Ultimate Fighters. So Diego, the Lionheart, man, I think you're going to see the Dream, the Lionheart, and the Nightmare all in one. And Aya Quinta's going back to selling real estate. Diego, man, Diego gets another W, and he'd probably fight fucking 5 more fights. Say he wins on Saturday, he'll likely fight like 3 or 4 more times. I swear to God.
Just because he can doesn't mean he should. Fuck that shit.
Well, been some weird shit going on with that cat lately, but he's been on weight for 3, I think 3 weeks is what he told me. Seen him about a week ago at King of the Cage, cornering his boy Chris Brown. But Diego just knows how to prepare his body for battle, man. I mean, he's done it time after time. I think it's just the experience. Ally Quinta, man, he knows he's in for a fight. Diego's definitely going to make it a fight. And
let me correct that. Ally Quinta has no clue what the fuck's going to happen. All right. Well, he knows he's got a fight, but I think Al goes into his fights thinking, well, I'm gonna school this guy. He can't do shit. Then he gets in there and gets fucking rocked. And so I mean, you got a point on that, but still, come on.
Just make sure to tell Diego not to eat steak tartare, please.
That'd be funny shit if he did.
Well, look forward to the media day when it's Diego's time on the mic, because it's always interesting, and Diego speaks like he keeps it real as fuck though. Can't knock Diego. Yeah. I'm gonna go out and say Diego's a Hall of Famer no matter what. Even though he
guaranteed.
Never got the title. Diego's a straight Hall of Famer. I don't care what anybody says. That's the real shit right there.
Nobody personified, in my opinion, nobody personified Warrior more than that dude.
Oh, absolutely. Plus, man.
He is the ultimate fighter, right? Season 1, now nobody out of those casts is still fighting or even wants to fight. He's still the only guy still doing the things. Yeah.
Exactly.
And he's still just as hard to knock out as he was back then, right now.
Yeah, definitely. Because he's a zombie. All right, what's the main event?
Oh, man, you guys are on the edge of your seat for this one, I would hope. Number 4 ranked Cub Swanson against the Russian fucking hammer, Connor's boy, Lord Lobov himself, Artem Lobov.
I mean, how depressing is this that Artem Lobov is a main event on any card ever? And people can hate if they want to. Fuck that guy. He didn't earn that shit. He got handed that shit. So, my opinion, of course. I hope like hell Cub Swanson win. God, Cub, move your fucking head, dude. Like, you got to give Artem Lobov that he hits hard as fuck. But you just got to wait him out. All right? Move your head. Move around a whole lot. Gas him out. And then piece him apart in the second and third, or in the third and fourth rounds, okay? And then knock him out or something. But don't. For the love of fucking God, don't stand in front of him the entire time and eat those hammers. Okay, this guy hits hard, and if you will be embarrassed shitless if you get knocked out by Artem Lobov, straight up. So, but I'm picking Cub Swans. Who are you picking, Jesse?
I'm picking Cub, but how pissed off are we all gonna be on Saturday night after Artem Lobov lands a stupid punch because Cub is sitting in the pocket trading with them? How pissed are we gonna be? Because I'll be
highly annoyed.
Mega pissed. I'll be mega pissed. But yeah, Cubs should win this fight easily. Just no problem. That should be like cut and dry. No, the judges should just take off. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
All right, Dave, who are you picking?
With the gangster songs over here.
Sorry, it was one of the Instagram things, and I hit the wrong button.
Man, I picked against Cub against the Korean Superboy. I thought it would have been a decision on his part. I knew it'd be a war. Cub's a little, he was in a war, so coming off that fight, I mean, he took a little bit of time off. The whole thing with him and Artem on Twitter sparked this fight to actually happen, and Cub just immediately was like, "Fuck this guy! I want to teach him a lesson." So Cub, man, definitely knows how to prepare. By a lucky shot, probably could win the fight, like you guys are saying, and totally just shocked. I mean, that puts Cub in a totally really fucked up place, but I don't even see that happening. I think Cub can tool him anywhere the fight goes. Yeah, Cubs means business, man. He's been in the gym out here in Albuquerque, incorporates a lot of his training here at Jackson's, and yeah, man, he'll be ready for war. And even if he does lose, Cub usually loses like in some crazy fashion, like a knockout, but would hate to see Lobov fucking put him away, man. I think Cub's got all the skills to tool him up, though, and I think he does so in a main event where, like you said, Eddie, Lobov definitely doesn't deserve this shit, so Cub just got to lay him out and put him in a weird place after that for sure.
Definitely.
Think about it, though, guys. Even if Cub does lose, he's going home to his chick. He's still winning.
Good for him. Hey, respect, Cub. You did good, my friend. You did good. Yeah. All right. And he's also got a child coming, a little baby, so congratulations, dude. All right. Anything else we got before we go?
What do we see?
Sorry. Straight up, the one fighter you need to see on that card for sure, Brandon Moreno.
Yep.
That little Mexican guy can fight. He can scrap. He beat Louis Smoke in a stunner. Just look out for that dude, because that dude's coming.
All right, Dave.
No, I was just gonna say, there's plenty of action going on though. We got Thursday, Friday, Saturday though. Combates, Bellator, UFC. So if you're a fan of mixed martial arts, the next 3 days would be great because even that Bellator card, AJ McKee on there, my buddy Sadawad, he's fighting on there against Ryan Quinn on the main card, of course. So some great action. And then yeah, we're always kind of looking forward to seeing what this division's building up as far as the 45 division. So Cub gets a win. He's right in the mix towards the top. I think Cub could rise up and possibly compete for the title, but he did give high praise to Yair Rodriguez though recently. So I think that's something. 2 weeks from now, we'll see Yair compete against the legend Frankie, and I think if Yair gets the job done against Frankie, Yair's coming, man, for the gold. So, I mean, right now Max and Aldo are set, but factor in Cub, factor in Yair, and Cub said he'd only fight Yair if it was for like the #1 contender slot.
Right. So
we could actually see that fight play out. Say Lobov gets stun gunned and Yair takes care of Frankie. So featherweight division forever interesting, man. So keep an eye on that division for sure.
All right, well, it's gonna do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. Especially, I'm literally like out of it right now, fucking falling asleep. It's been a long fucking week, man. But anyway, thanks for joining us tonight. You can follow Dave at Dave's MMA Brief. You can follow Jesse S for What 1983. I'm at Elaw31. The page is at CrossBonesMMA, and of course at the MMA Advocates. Shout out to 5 Book MMA, good guys over there, and of course reptheadvocates.com. Get yourself some represent gear. So. Yeah, it's going to do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate everyone coming on, and good night, Wilshire.